In this mini lecture, we will be looking at operations management. Operations management is really managing all activities that help to create value by producing our goods and services and distributing them to customers. These decisions have a huge impact on a firm's revenue and costs and profitability. I like to think of operations management as controlling our processes and our production, and really focusing on that efficiency aspect that we talk about in management. So an operations manager has some key responsibilities. They're looking at how do we design and manage those value chains, and we'll look at what the definition of a value chain is in a little bit. How do we select processes? How should our facility be laid out to maximize efficiency and effectiveness? Where do we locate our facilities? What kind of inventory should we have? And how do we manage and schedule projects? So it's a very wide, very broad area of study within the realm of management. All right, so let's look at process selection and facility layout. So really looking at what are the most efficient processes, deciding on the best way to arrange those processes, making sure that our facilities are laid out so that we have effective and efficient production and distribution. It also looks at ways to organize our processes, so our product layout, our process layout, and so forth. So basically, we're really looking at how do we maximize our effectiveness and our efficiency by managing these processes, managing where we make our products, managing where how our facilities are designed. Just a couple examples. I recently toured a factory and they had redone their whole layout of their factory because they found that, and they used robots to do it, um, and they found that by redesigning their factory, they were able to be more effective and efficient and have less lag times. Additionally, a regional business in northern Minnesota is Polaris. And one thing Polaris has done is they manufacture their snowmobiles in northern Minnesota, and then it's easier to distribute them to cold climates. And then they manufacture some of their other products like their razor, I believe in Mexico, because it's easier to distribute it to warmer climates. And that's a product that usually is used in warmer climates. So that's what operations does. All right, they also look at inventory control and project scheduling. So how much inventory should we keep on hand? One of the things, and I think we'll talk about this in a little bit, that a lot of companies are starting to do is just-in-time inventory, where we only keep enough inventory on hand for what we need at a given time so that we don't have um, a back, just a ton of inventory in stock. And the key here is that having inventory on hand costs us money. That's cash that could be freed up for something else. Project manager, or not project managers, but operations managers also look at project scheduling, and how they should not only just schedule projects, but how they should manage them. One of the things they do is called the critical path method, and this is a little bit higher level. So I'm just going to touch base on it here. But really, it looks at what is the relationships among everything that we're doing within a project. Which ones have to be completed on time? Because if these aren't completed on time, then they will not, it will throw the whole project off schedule. And so they really focus, so they call those items that need to get done at a specific time are on this critical path. And the critical path, then we really focus on those items on the critical path and making sure that those are completed on time to keep a project on schedule. All right, so operations managers also look at designing and managing value chains. And I said we talked about the definition, so here it is. The value chain is a network of relationships. It really just looks at the flow of our inputs, our outputs, our information, our financial resources, and how this all flows through the process that's involved in producing and distributing our goods and services. All right, so some of the things we look at are things like the concept of vertical integration. And this is where we basically it's the performance of processes internally that were previously performed by other organizations in the supply chain. So for example, let's say that Apple products were made in China by a company that Apple hired to make Apple products. If Apple decided to start making their products themselves, then that would be vertical integration. So they would start their own facilities to manufacture their phones and equipment, and it would allow them to have more control of it. In the prior case that I was talking about, we have outsourcing where things that could be done internally are outsourced or done by another company. And if that is done by a company that's not within your home country, so for this situation, if it's done outside of the United States, then we call that offshoring. So currently, Apple products are outsourced to China, so they're offshored. Um, but if they were to decide to bring that back to the United States and assemble them in the United States, which could happen with our current, which, depending on what the tariff issues are and so forth, and international relations are, that can happen. But if they were to bring back production of their products to the United States and do it themselves, that would be vertical integration. There's also this concept of enterprise resource planning, ERP. It's a really hot thing right now. And it's just software that we use to kind of look at how we manage this value chain. And it looks at how we manage all our activities throughout this supply chain. All right, so obviously technology is impacting operations. We're seeing a lot with automation where we're replacing humans with robots or artificial intelligence. For example, the example I gave you was actually a company that I went to. It's called ArcticCAD. It's owned by Textron now. It's in Thief River Falls, Minnesota. I went there and they are doing a lot more with automation and robots because it's just more precise and they can be much more efficient. One of the interesting things that was said during that factory tour, this was a year or two ago, was that while yes, the robots are replacing humans, those humans are actually then put into different positions where they actually are in more need of people. So it's not really, it's not replacing humans, it's just moving humans around in the process. And then there's just a ton of software. I'm sure you've probably heard of CAD or computer-aided design. This has been around for a while. Computer-aided engineering, computer-aided manufacturing, computer-integrated manufacturing, and you'll use these depending on what industry you're in. Personally, none of these really impact me myself, but other softwares do. So then we can talk about the Deming chain reaction, and just basically what Deming says is that as we improve quality, our costs decrease because we have less rework, fewer mistakes, fewer delays, and a better use of our time and materials. Our productivity improves. We can offer lower prices and better quality, which allows us to gain better customer satisfaction, higher sales, and provides more jobs. So that's just the Deming chain reaction, basically saying why improved quality is good. One of the really popular concepts right now is total quality management, or you'll hear it called TQM. And basically everyone in the organization is responsible for improving quality. And it's a long-term commitment to continuous improvement. So you're always looking for better ways to do things and better quality. And it really focuses on the customer and empowers employees to work on these quality initiatives and focuses on the prevention of quality issues rather than correcting them. So it's much more proactive than reactive approach. Another popular method or theory right now is Six Sigma. This again is looking at our quality goals. It requires a lot of training of employees and cross-functional teams. So you have team members from different areas of the business that focus on quality and quality-related issues. And then lastly, you've probably heard about lean and green, and we hear about it in operations and production and in accounting and marketing, and it's everywhere. But in this case, lean production means we're trying to eliminate the waste, and it uses this just-in-time production process so that we are creating goods to meet what our current demand is. It's harder to do with services because we have less control of the process because they're usually done by humans and it's hard to control and make everybody do things exactly the same way. And then there's green production, and this is really just being more environmentally friendly. Um, in order to produce and distribute goods and services with an overall goal of being more sustainable. I don't know if you've ever been to a Kohl's store, but one of the things that they'll say is this Kohl's store saves X amount of energy per year just by the lighting that we use in here. I don't know why I always think of that one, but every time I go into a Kohl's, I hear that. And that's an effort for them to be more green and more sustainable. You'll see this too, though, in companies that are using green packaging, where it's more biodegradable, and different pieces like that. So that is operations management. Have a great day.